Anna had been working in households for many years, but this was her first time in such a large mansion. It was owned by Mr. Hartley, a wealthy man who lived mostly alone. The house was quiet, grand, and filled with expensive furniture. Anna had been told to keep the house clean, make the beds, wash the dishes, and take care of the small things that kept a large house running smoothly. She moved carefully through the marble floors, polished the silverware, and dusted the high shelves. Everything had to be perfect, and she took pride in doing her work well. On her first day, Anna noticed the piano in the living room. It was a large, shiny, grand piano that seemed out of place in such a cold house. It had not been touched for a long time, and dust covered its keys. She stopped for a moment and ran her fingers lightly along the top, careful not to leave fingerprints. There was a feeling in her chest she could not explain. The piano reminded her of her childhood, when she had learned to play in a small school. Her mother used to watch her with pride. Mr. Hartley did not pay much attention to her at first. He was a man of few words, always busy with his meetings, phone calls, and business matters. He noticed that she worked quietly and efficiently, but beyond that, she was invisible to him. The other staff whispered about her. They saw a young woman who always seemed serious and focused. They said she acted too proud for a maid. They did not know about her past, about the hours she had spent learning music, or the talent she had hidden away because life had demanded she work instead of study. Days passed, and Anna followed her routine. She cleaned the rooms, polished the floors, and prepared meals. Yet every time she passed the piano, she paused. Her eyes would linger on the keys, and her fingers would twitch slightly, as if remembering movements she had not made in years. At night, after everyone had gone to bed, she would sometimes stay a little longer. Sitting silently near the piano, her mind recalling the songs she used to play. It was a quiet longing that no one could see, and Anna kept it to herself. She had learned long ago that talent could be hidden. Sometimes it was safer that way. The cook was the first to notice something unusual. One afternoon, as Anna hummed while polishing the silver, the cook paused. The tune was complex and beautiful, something a normal person could not create without skill. He frowned and listened, trying to place where he had heard it before. It was not the kind of music a servant would usually know, he thought. Anna stopped humming as soon as she noticed him looking, but the melody stayed in his mind. The other staff began noticing small things too. Sometimes Anna would tap a rhythm on the table, or her eyes would close for a second as she imagined the notes in her head. The rumors began slowly. Perhaps the maid knew something about music. Despite the whispers, Anna remained quiet. She did not speak of her talent, nor did she show it. She had learned to survive in the world by keeping parts of herself hidden. Her past had been difficult. Her mother had been ill when Anna was young, and she had given up her dreams to care for her family. Music had been a part of her life, but life had demanded work instead. She had learned to live with her longing quietly, accepting it as something personal, a private treasure she carried with her. Mr. Hartley had noticed the rumors as well. One day he asked her, in a polite but curious tone, whether she enjoyed music. Anna looked at him and hesitated. She gave a small, quiet answer, saying she liked it but did not play. She returned to her chores, but he could tell there was something more. He did not press, and Anna appreciated that. It was the first time someone had asked without judgment, without laughter or disbelief. The house had rules, and Anna followed them carefully. She learned the layout, the timing of chores, and the preferences of Mr. Hartley. He liked his meals prepared a certain way, his study to be tidy, and his rooms perfectly arranged. Anna respected these rules, but she also found small moments to indulge in her secret. Sometimes, she would stand by the window near the piano, closing her eyes and imagining the notes flowing under her fingers. She could almost hear the sound, soft and clear, as if the piano were calling to her, reminding her of the joy she had once known. The piano tuner came to the house. Mr. Hartley had noticed that the keys were stiff and the pedals did not work smoothly. As the tuner worked, he mentioned casually that a piano needed to be played to stay in good condition. Anna stood quietly nearby, watching every movement, absorbing every sound. The tuner left after a few hours, and Anna was left alone with the piano once again. She touched the keys lightly, barely pressing them, and a soft, imperfect note sounded. Her heart lifted at the familiar sensation, and for a moment, she felt a connection to a world she had missed for so long. The other staff continued their gossip. They did not know the depth of her skill, only the glimpses of behavior that seemed unusual. They laughed at her, calling her names, mocking her for being serious and distant. Anna heard them but did not respond. She had learned that people often feared what they did not understand. She focused on her work and her secret. Letting the piano remain a silent companion in her life, Mr. Hartley observed her quietly over time. He noticed how she moved the attention to detail, the quiet grace in her work. He also noticed her moments near the piano, the way her eyes lingered, the way her fingers twitched as if remembering long-forgotten movements. There was something in her that intrigued him, a depth he could not yet understand. He respected her space, never pressing, but his curiosity grew. Anna's life in the mansion settled into a rhythm. She worked hard, respected the rules, and carried her secret quietly. The piano became a symbol of hope, a reminder that her dreams were still alive inside her, even if they were hidden from the world. She did not know what the future held, but for now, she allowed herself small moments of joy, imagining the music she would play when the time came. She moved through the rooms, polished the silver, dusted the shelves, and in the quiet moments, felt the pulse of music calling her gently, reminding her that one day, she might sit at that piano and let the world hear her heart. Anna's days continued in the grand mansion, each one filled with routine, yet colored by quiet anticipation. She had learned to navigate the large house without drawing attention to herself. She knew the timing of each meal, the preferences of her employer, and the intricate schedule of cleaning, dusting, and polishing. The staff treated her as just another worker, though whispers followed her wherever she went. They had begun to notice small hints of something unusual in her behavior, though none of them guessed the truth. Anna had a hidden past, one that was deeply connected to music, and it had been carefully tucked away to survive life's challenges. One morning, as she polished the silverware in the kitchen, the cook, an older man with a curious mind, paused mid-step. Anna was humming a melody that was soft but precise, a tune that had a complex pattern. The cook stopped, leaning against the doorway, his eyes narrowing as he tried to place it. The tune sounded familiar in a strange way, like something he had heard in a music hall or on a radio many years ago. He listened in silence, not wanting to startle her. But the moment passed as Anna stopped humming when she noticed him staring. She quickly returned to her work, her hands moving smoothly over the silver. But there was a small glow in her eyes that betrayed her secret. The cook left silently, muttering to himself that there was more to Anna than met the eye. The gossip began quietly among the staff. Whispers floated through the hallways and behind closed doors. Some said she must have learned music somewhere, but others laughed, saying, "A maid. Playing piano? Impossible." Anna heard bits and pieces, but she did not respond. She had grown used to judgment. People often underestimated her, and she had learned long ago that talent and dreams were dangerous to show in the wrong environment. She focused on her tasks, letting her mind wander to the music she longed to play, imagining the keys beneath her fingers, the notes flowing like water, soft and clear, despite the rumors. Mr. Hartley's curiosity grew. He observed Anna quietly over time. He noticed the way she moved through the mansion, her focus, and her precision in her work. But it was the occasional pause near the piano that caught his attention. She would stand by it, her eyes distant, her fingers twitching slightly as if recalling some hidden memory. He asked her casually one day whether she liked music. Anna paused, unsure if she should speak, and then gave a quiet, non-committal answer. She liked it, she said softly, but did not play. Mr. Hartley did not push further, and she appreciated his restraint. It was the first time in years that someone had asked without judgment. As the days went on, Anna found herself drawn more and more to the piano. She would linger near it after finishing her tasks, her hand brushing the top, her fingers hovering over the keys. At night, when the house was quiet and the lights dim, she would sit silently nearby, imagining herself playing. She could hear the music in her mind, each note clear and precise, as if the piano itself were calling her. The longing was deep, a mixture of joy and sorrow. a reminder of the years she had given up to care for her family and survive in a world that did not always value talent. One afternoon, Mr. Hartley noticed a small gathering of staff near the kitchen. They were speaking in hushed tones. Glancing toward Anna, he approached quietly and overheard fragments of conversation about her humming. About the rhythm she tapped on tables, about the way she closed her eyes, as if hearing music that others could not. He felt a spark of curiosity he could not ignore. He asked Anna politely if she would demonstrate her musical knowledge, but she declined softly, saying she preferred to keep her skills private. Mr. Hartley respected her answer, though the curiosity lingered in his mind. He sensed a depth in her that went beyond housekeeping and whispered rumors one evening. As the sun set and the mansion grew quiet, Anna stayed behind after completing her chores. She moved toward the piano, her fingers hovering just above the keys. She pressed one gently, producing a soft note that resonated through the empty room. She smiled faintly, remembering the joy she had once felt when she could play freely. Her past came rushing back: the small music school, the long hours of practice, the proud look in her mother's eyes. All of it had been set aside when life demanded she work to support her family. Now, in the silence of the mansion, she allowed herself to feel it again. The piano tuner arrived one morning, called by Mr. Hartley to fix the stiff keys and uneven pedals. Anna watched intently as he worked, absorbing the sounds of the piano being tuned. The notes were brought back to life, the hammers striking the strings with precision. The tuner mentioned casually that pianos needed to be played to stay healthy. Anna nodded silently, feeling a surge of hope and excitement. She could almost hear the music flowing through the room, a connection she had missed for so long. After the tuner left, she sat quietly at the piano, touching the keys lightly, letting the notes float into the air. The music was imperfect, soft, but it felt like a reunion with a part of herself she had almost forgotten. The staff continued their gossip, unaware of the truth behind Anna's actions. They laughed at her seriousness, mocked her quiet demeanor, and whispered about her strange behavior. Anna ignored them, knowing that they could not understand. Talent often frightened people, and admiration was rare in the world she had grown up in. She focused on her work, her secret. In the small moments of music that nourished her soul, Mr. Hartley observed her more closely as the days passed. He noticed her attention to detail, her silent grace, and her moments of quiet reflection near the piano. There was something mysterious about her, something that hinted at a life she had left behind. He respected her space, never pressing, but his curiosity deepened. He could sense that Anna held a treasure within her, a skill that had been buried by circumstance and silence. One rainy afternoon, as Anna was cleaning the windows overlooking the garden, Mr. Hartley approached her. He spoke gently, asking if she had ever played the piano professionally. Anna hesitated, the question striking a chord within her. She had trained in her youth, had performed for small audiences, and had dreamed of a life filled with music. But life had demanded sacrifice. She gave a small, cautious answer, saying she had learned to play, but had not pursued it further. Mr. Hartley nodded thoughtfully. Sensing the depth of her words and the untold story behind them, Anna's connection with the piano became a part of her daily life. Even while performing her chores, she would think about the melodies she had once played. She imagined the notes flowing beneath her fingers, the music rising and falling, carrying emotion and meaning. She felt alive in those moments, connected to a world she had almost forgotten. The piano became more than an object. It became a symbol of hope, a reminder that her dreams were still alive inside her. One evening, as she finished cleaning the grand dining room, she noticed the piano under the soft glow of the chandelier. She approached it slowly, her hand brushing the keys. She played a few soft notes, testing her memory, feeling the familiar rhythm and flow. The sound filled the room, echoing softly against the walls. She closed her eyes, letting herself imagine the applause of an audience. The joy of performing and the connection with music she had longed for so many years. The mansion, usually silent, seemed to listen. The wind rattled the windows gently, the rain tapped a soft rhythm on the roof, and the piano responded with its gentle notes. Anna felt a sense of peace, a quiet joy that had been missing from her life for too long. She knew she was not yet ready to show her talent to the world, but in that moment, she allowed herself to feel the full power of her gift. It was hers alone, a secret that no one could take away. Days turned into weeks. Anna continued her work while nurturing her hidden talent. She moved through the mansion with quiet efficiency, her heart alive with music that only she could hear. The staff continued their gossip, the cook occasionally glancing at her with curiosity. And Mr. Hartley watched from a distance, intrigued by the mystery that surrounded her. Anna had found a way to balance her responsibilities with her passion, keeping her dreams alive in the quiet moments between chores. One evening, as the mansion was quiet and the sun set behind the hills, Anna stood by the piano, her fingers lightly touching the keys. She played a few notes, simple and soft, letting the music fill the empty room. She remembered her past, her dreams, and the sacrifices she had made. She felt a sense of hope, knowing that one day circumstances might allow her to share her gift with the world. For now, the music was her companion, a source of comfort and joy in the midst of her daily life. And in that quiet moment, she realized that talent could survive even in silence, waiting patiently for the right time to shine. One morning, the mansion was unusually busy. Mr. Hartley had arranged a charity dinner and invited many guests from the city. The staff were nervous, moving quickly through the rooms, ensuring everything was perfect. Anna worked quietly alongside them, polishing silver, arranging flowers, and adjusting the chairs. She noticed a grand piano in the corner of the dining hall, now covered with a protective sheet. It had been untouched for months, waiting silently, a forgotten part of the mansion. Anna paused for a moment, imagining herself playing on it, feeling the keys beneath her fingers as if it had been calling her for years. The guests began arriving, their voices filling the halls with laughter and conversation. Mr. Hartley greeted them politely, ensuring everyone felt welcome. The staff moved quickly, serving drinks and appetizers while trying to remain invisible. Anna continued her work quietly, making sure everything was in order, while her mind wandered to the piano. She remembered the soft melodies she had imagined playing, the long hours of practice she had once put in, and the dreams she had set aside to survive and care for her family. As the evening progressed, a sudden problem arose. The hired pianist, who was supposed to perform during the dinner, had called in sick at the last minute. The guests were beginning to notice, murmuring with disappointment. Mr. Hartley looked worried. He knew the performance was expected and had been promised, and the absence of music threatened to ruin the evening. The staff whispered among themselves, unsure what to do, while Anna continued her work. Quietly observing the unfolding situation, Mr. Hartley's eyes fell on Anna. He had seen her around the piano many times, noticed her interest, and observed her small movements as if she were remembering something. He approached her quietly, asking in a calm and polite voice, "Anna, do you know how to play the piano?" Anna froze, unsure of how to respond. She had never been asked directly, and the question surprised her. She hesitated, afraid of making a mistake in front of so many people, but finally, she nodded quietly. "I do," she said softly. Her voice was barely audible, but it carried a weight of truth that Mr. Hartley could sense immediately. The staff were stunned. Some laughed quietly, thinking it was a joke, while others exchanged looks of disbelief. A maid playing the piano for the guests of a wealthy man seemed impossible to them. Mr. Hartley, however, looked at her with something more curiosity, hope, and perhaps a bit of excitement. He gestured for her to follow him to the dining hall. Anna's heart raced as she walked toward the piano, feeling the weight of the moment. The guests watched in silence, curious about what was happening. Some whispered to each other, others sat back, waiting to see what the young maid would do. Anna approached the piano carefully, her fingers trembling slightly. She touched the keys gently, producing a soft, uncertain note. The sound echoed through the hall, filling the space with a gentle resonance. She took a deep breath and closed her eyes, allowing herself to remember the melodies she had learned long ago. Her fingers moved with confidence now, recalling the patterns, the rhythms, and the notes that had been stored in her memory. The sound filled the room, soft at first, then growing stronger and more expressive. The guests were silent, captivated by the music that seemed to rise effortlessly from her hands. Mr. Hartley watched in astonishment, unable to hide his surprise. He had not expected such skill from the young woman he had considered only a maid. As Anna played, her mind drifted to her past. She remembered the small music school where she had spent countless hours practicing, the pride in her mother's eyes, and the joy she had felt when she first learned to perform. Those memories had been buried under years of work and sacrifice. But now, in the presence of the piano and the silent audience, they resurfaced with a powerful clarity. Each note carried emotion, pain, joy, and longing. The music told a story that words could never capture, and Anna allowed herself to be fully present in the moment. The guests began to react slowly, their faces softening, their eyes widening with amazement. Some were moved to tears by the beauty of the music, while others simply stared in silent admiration. The staff who had mocked her moments ago were now speechless, unable to believe what they were witnessing. Anna's fingers danced across the keys with grace and precision. Bringing life to the melodies that had been hidden for so long, Mr. Hartley felt a deep sense of awe and pride. He realized that he had underestimated Anna, judging her only by her position as a maid. Her talent, dedication, and passion were evident in every note she played. He saw a young woman who had sacrificed so much yet carried her dreams quietly within her. In that moment, he knew he wanted to support her, to help her reach her potential, and to ensure that her gift was recognized and appreciated. Anna's performance continued, each piece flowing seamlessly into the next. She played with emotion, her music telling a story of resilience, hope, and unspoken dreams. The room seemed to hold its breath, absorbed by the sound of the piano and the presence of the young woman who had once been invisible. Time seemed to stand still as she played, and for the first time in years, Anna felt a sense of freedom and fulfillment that she had thought was lost forever. When the final note faded, the room erupted into applause. The guests stood, clapping and cheering, some wiping tears from their eyes. Anna opened her eyes, feeling both relief and joy. She looked around the room, meeting the astonished gaze of Mr. Hartley, who smiled warmly at her. The staff who had doubted her were silent, humbled by the realization of her talent. Anna felt a sense of validation, a recognition of the years of dedication, practice, sacrifice that had brought her to this moment. Mr. Hartley approached her, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. "That was extraordinary," he said, his voice filled with admiration. "You have a gift, Anna. You should not hide it. You should share it with the world." Anna blushed, feeling both shy and proud. She had always dreamed of performing, but life had forced her to keep her talent hidden. Now, in front of an audience, and a man who believed in her, she felt a glimmer of hope that her dreams could finally be realized. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Guests praised Anna for her performance, some asking to hear more, while others simply expressed their amazement. Mr. Hartley continued to watch her with pride. Understanding that she had more to offer than anyone had realized, Anna returned to her work quietly, her heart full of a mixture of excitement, gratitude, and determination. She knew that this moment was only the beginning, that her life could change in ways she had never imagined. After the guests had left, Anna stayed by the piano for a while, letting the music fill the empty room. She played softly, experimenting with new melodies, feeling the connection between her fingers and the keys, and reliving the joy of creating music. The mansion, usually quiet and imposing, now felt alive with the sound of her talent. She felt a sense of peace, knowing that she had finally begun to reclaim a part of herself that had been hidden for so long. Mr. Hartley watched from a distance, reflecting on the events of the evening. He realized that Anna had been underestimated, judged only by her position and appearance. Her talent, dedication, and passion had been hidden beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to emerge. He felt a sense of responsibility to support her, to ensure that her gift was nurtured and recognized. He also felt a deep admiration for her courage and humility, for the way she had faced the challenge and shared her music with the world in the days that followed. The story of Anna's performance spread quietly among the staff and the few guests who had witnessed it. People spoke in hushed tones, expressing their astonishment and admiration. Anna continued her work, moving through the mansion with quiet confidence, her connection to the piano stronger than ever. She knew that her life was changing, that new opportunities might arise, and that her dreams could finally take shape. But for now, she focused on the music, allowing it to guide her, comfort her, and remind her of the strength and resilience that had carried her this far. Anna's journey was far from over, but she had taken the first step toward reclaiming her passion and her talent. The mansion, once a place of routine and silence, now echoed with the sound of her music, a symbol of hope, courage, and the unbreakable spirit of a young woman who had refused to let life extinguish her dreams. And as she sat by the piano, fingers gliding over the keys, she knew that this was only the beginning of a new chapter in her life, one filled with possibility, recognition, and the beauty of music that could touch hearts and change lives. Anna sat at the grand piano in the dining hall, her hands hovering above the keys. The room was silent, filled with anticipation and curiosity. The guests watched her closely, their faces a mix of skepticism and intrigue. Even the staff, who had once whispered and mocked, now stood in quiet attention. Mr. Hartley watched her intently, feeling a mixture of pride and awe. He had never expected the young maid he had hired to possess such talent. Yet here she was, about to transform the atmosphere of the entire room with music. Anna took a deep breath and allowed herself to feel the memories and emotions she had held on to for years. She began to play a simple, soft melody, letting the music flow naturally from her fingers. The notes were gentle at first, creating a delicate, almost fragile atmosphere. The guests leaned forward slightly, listening intently. They could sense the depth of feeling in each note, the care with which Anna expressed herself. Even those who had doubted her could not help but be drawn in by the beauty of the sound, as Anna continued. The melody grew in complexity. Her fingers moved with confidence and precision, recalling the training and hours of practice she had done long ago. The music told a story of resilience, hope, and unspoken dreams. It spoke of a life that had been full of sacrifice, of talent that had been hidden, and of a spirit that refused to be broken. The guests were captivated, some closing their eyes to feel the music more deeply. Others sitting in stunned silence, unable to believe that such artistry could come from someone they had thought of only as a maid. Mr. Hartley felt a lump form in his throat. He realized that he had underestimated Anna, judging her by her position rather than seeing the depth of her character and talent. Each note she played was a revelation, a reminder that appearances could be deceiving, and that true talent could flourish even in unexpected places. He felt a deep respect and admiration for her. Understanding that she had overcome obstacles and hardships to reach this moment, her performance was more than just music. It was a testament to courage, perseverance, and the human spirit. The music continued, moving through different moods and emotions. Anna played with grace, passion, and intensity, expressing joy, sorrow, longing, and triumph. The guests were completely absorbed, their attention fully captured by the sound of the piano and the skill of the young woman in front of them. Even the staff who had mocked her earlier now watched in silent amazement, realizing the depth of talent they had overlooked. Anna's performance was transforming the room, creating an atmosphere of beauty, emotion, and inspiration. As she reached the climax of her performance, Anna allowed herself to fully immerse in the music. Her fingers moved effortlessly across the keys, producing notes that were both powerful and delicate. The melodies rose and fell, creating a sense of movement and emotion that resonated with everyone in the room. Tears filled the eyes of some guests, while others simply sat in awe, unable to look away. The music was a language that needed no words, speaking directly to the hearts of those who listened. Anna's mind was focused entirely on the music. She felt a deep connection to the piano, as if it were an extension of herself. Each note was a part of her story, a reflection of her journey, her struggles, and her dreams. She remembered the small music school where she had learned to play, the hours of practice, the joy of performing, and the sacrifices she had made. All of these memories came together in her performance, creating a powerful and emotional experience that touched everyone present. The guests began to realize that Anna's performance was not just a demonstration of skill, but an expression of her life and her soul. They were witnessing something rare and extraordinary. A talent that had been hidden for years finally revealed in its full beauty. The room was filled with a sense of wonder and admiration, as everyone recognized the dedication, passion, and artistry that Anna brought to her music. Even those who had been skeptical or dismissive could not deny the impact of her performance. Mr. Hartley felt a deep sense of gratitude and responsibility. He realized that Anna had been underestimated and undervalued for too long. He understood that she had faced challenges and obstacles that many could not imagine, and yet she had maintained her talent, her discipline, and her passion. He knew that he wanted to support her, to help her reach her full potential, and to ensure that her gift was recognized and nurtured. Her performance had changed his perception of her completely, and he felt inspired to help her achieve her dreams. As Anna finished the final notes of her performance, the room fell into a moment of profound silence. The echoes of the music lingered, creating a sense of awe and reverence. Then, slowly, the guests began to applaud, their clapping growing louder and more enthusiastic. Some guests rose to their feet, moved by the beauty and emotion of the performance. Tears were wiped away, smiles spread across faces, and expressions of admiration filled the room. Anna opened her eyes, feeling a mixture of relief, pride, and joy. She had shared a part of herself that had been hidden for so long. The response was more overwhelming than she had ever imagined. Mr. Hartley approached Anna, his eyes filled with admiration and respect. "That was extraordinary," he said, his voice warm and sincere. "You have a gift, Anna, a talent that should not be hidden. You should share it with the world." Anna felt a rush of emotions, a mixture of shyness, pride, and gratitude. She had always dreamed of performing, but life had forced her to keep her talent hidden. Now, in front of an audience and a man who believed in her, she felt a sense of possibility, of hope, and of recognition that she had never experienced before. The staff who had doubted her stood quietly, humbled and silent. They had witnessed something remarkable, a demonstration of skill and passion that could not be ignored. Anna had proven that talent and dedication could exist in unexpected places, and that appearances could be deceiving. The atmosphere in the room had shifted completely from skepticism and doubt to admiration and inspiration. Anna's performance had not only touched the hearts of the guests, but had also transformed the perceptions of those around her. After the applause had subsided, Anna continued to play softly for a few more moments, allowing herself to savor the experience. She experimented with new melodies, letting the music flow naturally, without concern for judgment or expectation. The mansion, usually quiet and imposing, now seemed alive with the sound of her talent. Each note carried emotion, each chord told a story, and each movement of her fingers reflected the years of dedication and practice that had brought her to this moment. Mr. Hartley watched silently, feeling a deep sense of admiration and pride. He realized that Anna had faced challenges and hardships that most people could not imagine, yet she had maintained her talent, her discipline, and her passion. Her performance had revealed not only her skill, but also her character, her resilience, and her inner strength. He felt a responsibility to support her, to ensure that her gift was recognized, and to help her achieve her potential. The experience had changed his perception of her completely, and he knew that her life would never be the same again. As the evening continued, the guests spoke in hushed tones about Anna's performance. They expressed their admiration, amazement, and respect for the young woman who had transformed the dining hall with her music. The story of her talent spread quickly, leaving an impression on everyone who had witnessed it. Anna returned to her work quietly, her heart full of a mixture of excitement, gratitude, and determination. She knew that this moment was only the beginning, that her life could change in ways she had never imagined. Anna's connection to the piano deepened after that evening. She continued to practice whenever she could, exploring new melodies, refining her technique, experimenting with different styles of music. The mansion, once a place of routine and silence, now echoed with the sound of her talent, a symbol of hope, courage, and the unbreakable spirit of a young woman who had refused to let life extinguish her dreams. She felt a sense of fulfillment. Knowing that her gift was finally being recognized and appreciated, the days and weeks that followed were filled with new opportunities and challenges. Anna began to realize that her life was changing, that her talent was opening doors that had previously been closed. She continued to work in the mansion, but now with a sense of purpose and pride. Her performances inspired others, and she felt a growing confidence in her abilities. Mr. Hartley supported her in every way he could, providing encouragement, guidance, and resources to help her develop her skills further. Anna's journey was far from over, but she had taken a significant step toward reclaiming her passion and talent. The mansion, once a place of routine and silence, now resonated with music, emotion, and inspiration. Anna had transformed not only her own life, but also the perceptions and hearts of those around her. And as she sat at the piano, fingers gliding over the keys, she knew that this was only the beginning of a new chapter. One filled with possibility, recognition, and the beauty of music that could touch hearts and change lives. Anna's life had changed completely since the night of the charity dinner. The music she had played had left an unforgettable impression on everyone who heard it. Guests, staff, and even Mr. Hartley had seen a side of her that had been hidden for years. For Anna, it was a moment of realization that her talent, her dedication, and her dreams were finally being recognized. She continued her work in the mansion, but there was a new sense of purpose in everything she did. Each movement, each chore was now accompanied by the quiet knowledge that she was no longer invisible, that her abilities and her passion could no longer be ignored. In the following days, Mr. Hartley took Anna aside. He spoke to her in a quiet, respectful voice, expressing his admiration and pride. "Anna, you have an extraordinary gift," he said. "I want to help you in any way I can. You should not limit yourself. You should explore your potential and let the world see your talent." Anna listened, feeling a mixture of gratitude, humility, and excitement. She had dreamed of performing, of sharing her music, but had never dared to imagine that someone like Mr. Hartley would support her in such a way. His words were not just encouragement. They were an offer of opportunity and belief in her abilities. Mr. Hartley arranged for Anna to meet with professional music instructors who could guide her and help refine her skills. She was nervous at first, unsure if she was ready to face formal training again after so many years. Yet, as she played for the instructors, they were amazed by her natural ability, her understanding of music, and the emotion she conveyed. They recognized her potential immediately and offered to help her build on her existing skills. Anna felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. Knowing that her years of dedication and passion had not been wasted, the mansion became a place of music and creativity. Anna spent her mornings performing her household duties, but her afternoons and evenings were dedicated to practice and learning. She explored new pieces, experimented with different styles, and refined her technique. The piano, once silent and neglected, became her companion and her teacher. Each day, she discovered more about herself, her capabilities, and the depth of emotion she could express through her music. The mansion, which had once felt imposing and empty, now echoed with life, sound, and inspiration. The staff who had once mocked Anna now treated her with respect and admiration. They'd seen her talent firsthand and could no longer dismiss her. Some of them approached her asking for guidance or simply expressing their astonishment. Anna responded with kindness and humility, understanding that their previous judgment had come from ignorance rather than malice. She felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that her perseverance and dedication had not only transformed her own life but also influenced those around her. Anna's connection with Mr. Hartley deepened. He became more than an employer. He became a mentor and supporter. He provided her with opportunities to perform for small audiences, helping her gain confidence and experience. Each performance was a step forward, a chance to share her gift with the world. Anna felt a sense of empowerment she had never known before. Realizing that her life was no longer confined to routine chores and hidden dreams, she had a purpose, a calling, and the support she needed to pursue it fully. As Anna's skills grew, she began to dream bigger. She imagined performing in concert halls, sharing her music with larger audiences, and inspiring others with her story. She thought of the young girls and boys who might face obstacles and doubts. She wanted to show them that talent and determination could overcome challenges. Her vision extended beyond her own success. She wanted her music to touch lives, to bring joy, comfort, and hope to others. The mansion, once a place of quiet work and hidden longing, had become the foundation for a new life filled with purpose, passion, and possibility. One day, Mr. Hartley surprised Anna with an invitation to perform at a local cultural event. It was a small stage, with an audience of music lovers and critics. Anna was nervous, her hands trembling as she approached the piano. Yet, as she sat down and placed her fingers on the keys, she felt a deep sense of calm. The years of practice, the moments of longing, and the support she had received all came together in that moment. She began to play, and the music flowed naturally, effortlessly, and powerfully. The audience was captivated, moved by the emotion and skill in every note. Anna felt a sense of fulfillment and joy, knowing that she was finally sharing her gift with the world. Her performance received praise and recognition. People spoke of the young woman who had once been a maid, but now played with the grace, passion, and mastery of a professional musician. Anna's story spread quietly but powerfully, inspiring others and creating opportunities for her to perform in more venues, reach wider audiences, and connect with people through her music. Each performance strengthened her confidence, her skill, and her belief in herself. The path she had once dreamed of was now becoming a reality, step by step, note by note. Anna never forgot her beginnings. She continued to work in the mansion when needed, valuing the life she had built there and the support she had received. But her focus was now on music, on developing her talent, and on sharing her gift with the world. She maintained humility, kindness, and gratitude, understanding that her journey had been shaped by perseverance, opportunity, and the belief of others in her potential. Each day was a balance of work, practice, and performance, a rhythm that gave her life meaning and fulfillment. Mr. Hartley continued to mentor Anna, helping her navigate the challenges of public performance, professional training, and personal growth. He provided encouragement, resources, and guidance, always respecting her pace and her decisions. Anna felt a deep sense of trust and appreciation, knowing that she had someone who genuinely believed in her and wanted to see her succeed. Their relationship was one of mutual respect, admiration, and shared purpose. Grounded in the recognition of her talent and her character, as Anna's confidence and skills grew, they began to compose her own pieces. She drew inspiration from her life, her experiences, and the emotions she had carried for so long. Her compositions reflected joy, sorrow, hope, and resilience. Each piece was a reflection of her journey, a story told through music. People who listened were moved, inspired, and comforted by the depth of feeling in her compositions. Anna's music became a bridge, connecting her past, present, and future, and touching the hearts of everyone who heard it. Years passed, and Anna's life transformed completely. She performed in concert halls, participated in cultural events, and shared her story of perseverance and hidden talent. She became an inspiration to many, showing that dedication, resilience, and belief in oneself could overcome obstacles and create opportunities. The young maid who had once been invisible was now a respected musician, admired for her skill, passion, and humility. Her journey had been long, challenging, and full of sacrifice, but it had led her to a life filled with purpose, recognition, and fulfillment. Anna never forgot the piano in the mansion. The silent companion that had called to her for years, it had been the instrument of her dreams, the source of her hope, and the key to her transformation. She continued to play it whenever she returned to the mansion, feeling a connection to her past, her growth, and the journey that had brought her to where she was. The piano, once silent and neglected, now resonated with life, music, and the spirit of a young woman who had refused to let circumstances define her. Her story became known not only for her musical talent but also for her perseverance, humility, and courage. Anna had faced challenges that could have broken her spirit, yet she had nurtured her gift, waited patiently for opportunity, and embraced the moment when it arrived. She inspired others to believe in themselves, to pursue their passions, and to overcome obstacles with resilience and determination. The mansion, the piano, and the support she had received became symbols of possibility, hope, and the transformative power of talent and dedication in the end. Anna's life was a testament to the idea that talent can be hidden. Dreams can be delayed, but perseverance, passion, and support can change everything. The young maid, who had once been silent, overlooked, and underestimated, had become a musician whose music touched hearts, inspired others, and fulfilled the dreams she had carried quietly for so many years. She had proven that life could change in unexpected ways, and that the courage to embrace one's gift could lead to a future filled with beauty, joy, and purpose. Anna's journey was complete, yet ever-evolving, a story of music, determination, and the unbreakable human spirit.